pretty interesting. When I measured them separately, when I measured the new Dayton woofer in the cabinet separate compared to the original RCA Optimus / RadioShack speaker woofer, the difference, they had a very similar kind of a character to them. The Dayton had a little bit higher SPL, but I'll tell you what, combined, it's a pretty big difference in the way that they sound. So that's impressive, and you can see it on the graph here too. The original RCAs from back when I tested them when they were bone stock, they would not reach down to 40 hertz, and this is definitely pegging 40 hertz, no problem. So I just picked up 10 dB on the bottom end with these Dayton woofers, which that's a noticeable difference for sure.
Blame you for these blues. They are just what I deserve.
If you leave, if you can afford it, you cannot recognize the street at home.
I left my heart in San Francisco. Let's take it nice and easy. It's gonna be so easy for us to fall in love. The problem now, of course, is to simply hold your horses. To rush would be a crime. 'Cause nice and easy does it. Nice and easy does it. Nice and easy does it every time.
All right, what's up? Thanks for joining me today. As promised, I'm going to be putting in some woofers into these cabinets. If you watched my last video, I opened up these holes so that these Dayton Classic Series 12-inch woofers would fit inside there. Now my intention long-term is I'm going to have these cabinets completely resto modded. So I'm going to have gussets, bracing, I'm going to have a new mid-range, new tweeter, new woofer, new crossover, and But in between the finished product and now, I thought, well, this might be a good time to address some of those kind of common questions that, I don't know, guys that are rebuilding speakers, or maybe they got a blown woofer or something, might ask, like, hey, what happens if I replace the stock woofer with one of these Dayton Classic series or something similar, right? Another topic that I'm going to address in this too is what happens when you put a woofer that is too small, technically, for the enclosure, because this is a 2 cubic foot enclosure, and ideally for a bass reflex, I think that what Parts Express recommends on this Dayton Classic is a 2 3/4, possibly 2.5 or 2 3/4 cubic foot enclosure. And so I'm going to find out, well, what's the bass response going to be like? I'm not going to use, I'm not going to use Win ISD or anything. I'm just going to do an in-room measurement using the Dayton Omni mic with the test DVD running sweeps. And we're just going to kind of see what happens to the bass response when, between a stock woofer and a replacement woofer. First things first, though, I'm going to have to put this cabinet back together, and I'll probably throw in everything stock on this one except for the woofer. I'll put the Dayton woofer in this one. This other speaker, I'll go ahead and put it back to stock with the stock woofer. Then we can measure one speaker against the other one and have a pretty fair comparison. I'm not going to change anything else about it, just the woofer. I'm going to have to make a little jumper cable to get to the other terminal, because it's a different size than the terminal that's on the end of the wire coming from the original crossover. One down, one to go. We've got Dayton Vs RadioShack. Let's see which one does what. All right, so right now, all I'm gonna do is a frequency sweep. I'll do bass sweeps just to compare the two and kind of find out what they're actually like. I'll probably turn them on just for a quick minute, just to kind of get them going. As a matter of fact, since this is a brand new woofer, I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and let this thing play a few minutes just to get it going. All right, so I've been running these things probably, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes or something like that. So far, they sound really good. I don't know if it's a placebo effect or what, but this one seems to sound good to me. I haven't measured it yet. I haven't done anything drastic with it, just listening to it at moderate volume, and I don't know, it sounds good to me. I'll go ahead and run the sweeps on them and see how they look individually. I'll get set up for that. All right, so I'm set up here and I'm about 18 inches away. I'm not really getting picky and choosy about where this microphone is right now and where the speaker is. As long as it's kind of out here in the open and I've got it 18 inches away, I'll just repeat the same thing for the other speaker. I'm just looking at, did it make a difference? I'll go ahead and move you down a little bit closer so you can see the graph. So this is the stock speaker. And the thing to look at on this is that these speakers are supposed to be 50 hertz speakers, supposed to go down to 50 hertz. So I'm assuming that's what the box is tuned to, is 50. And I'm looking at this -80 line is kind of the baseline here. So it's definitely, that's where it hits 50, and then it jumps up about 10 dB, a little bit more, comes over here, drops down, okay, over here. Now, I would imagine, I'm hoping that the Dayton woofer is flatter than that. That's what I'm looking for, and I'm hoping it's got as much, if not more, bass. But we don't know until we try. It's got a smaller cabinet, too small for the woofer, so that might make a difference. First, I'll run it against this, and then I'll do a clean one. Well, that's interesting. Didn't seem to change a whole lot. All right, so there's a frequency response of this speaker and that speaker. They are very similar, super similar. So I think about the only thing that I would say changing the woofers would do is these drivers, they may have a different sound to them than the originals. As far as frequency response goes, it doesn't look a whole lot different really. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the screenshots I just took and try to see, you know, kind of side by side what they look like. All right, so that's the Dayton. So that is the original RadioShack woofer. And that's the Dayton. RadioShack, Dayton, RadioShack, Dayton. So if anything, the Dayton woofer is just a little bit more efficient. Yeah, let's focus in on this area here. So basically this up to my crossover point is going to be, you know, about 800 or so, between 650 and 800. RadioShack, Dayton. That is interesting. So that should have been RCA. Well, there you have it, folks. Not a whole lot of difference. I'm interested to see how they sound, though. I'll put the Dayton woofer into that cabinet and give it a listen for a bit. Next video, I'm going to try mixing it up a little bit more. Maybe swapping out the tweeter, see what kind of difference the tweeter makes.
There was a boy, a very strange, enchanted boy.